if we are in a family, we are in a family structure, it will be difficult for people to exploit us, because we are in a family and we have each other's support, and we are available for each other to death. And so isn't it a good thing for us to be in families, because people will not be able to harm us as much as they could if we were alone? This could be a question. And to a certain extent we are right here. People with less amount of power cannot, harm us as much as they could if we were alone. But people with enormous strength cannot harm us if we are alone. They can put more harm into our existence if we are structured into families. And I have proof of that. I'll give my own evidences, and I'm sure that you will be convinced. We have seen so many criminal cases for recently, for example, Epstein files, etc. Why were these young women, young ladies, young girls who were raped and extorted, molested, etc., how come they fell prey to their hunting existence? And once, if they did, what made them so cautious about not, you know, being open about it, being against them? People who are alone, people who are individuals, people who are not tied up with families are less vulnerable to extortion and molestation and harassment. People who are tied with families are more vulnerable, because assuming that a young lady is molested or raped, or something has done with her by the powerful people, now she may not come in the forefront to to give testimony or stand against the powerful people, because now she is not only worried about herself, she is worried about her family. People in power target families if they've committed something against you, and if you are not as vulnerable as they thought, and if you are capable of raising your voice, they target your families. If something, if I want to raise something, a voice against somebody, people who have enormous amount of power, enormous amount of social wealth, enormous amount of resources and connections, etc., it is not as easy, because they have convinced us into having tied up into family structures. It is a systematic plan drawn by them. Firstly, parents. Now they encourage us to get married, so our family structures get even stronger, and so that we become more vulnerable to their extortion. And now we have children, so now we are more careful. Now we are more vulnerable and more readily, out there to accept all the violence, all the problems that have been created by them for us. And so that is why they want to keep us into family structures, so that we are always afraid, threatened, and we stay in our limits. We don't raise our voices. A lonely man, a man in solitude, or a woman in solitude is a bigger threat for the system. And so they put us through guilt if we choose to live alone, and if we choose to get away from families, family structures, if we choose to abandon, not abandon, they name it as abandonment, because whereas it is so natural. All the animals get away from their parents, all the animals do not get married, all the animals do not live with their children, they make them independent as soon as they are able to survive. Because in the animal kingdom there is no need to control, there is no need to make a system to extort people. But in humanity, in the humanity is a word, humanity is a word, and what is happening in the humanity itself. And we never question that. We think we're the more the better. Oh no, it makes us more vulnerable. You would have had noticed that in this Epstein files case only, people who were, extorted, girls, young girls who were, extorted, raped, molested, etc., they had strong family values, or at least some trauma from their families. Society shames them. And so for us being into huge first of all, the idea of being in family structures is not a natural thing. It is not made by nature. It is made by them. They have made this thing so normal so that their control is never eradicated. So that they can always control us. They can always control our existence on this planet. We think that we are so big, in our own world, in our own individuality, that we think we are so big, but in reality they are controlling the world. They are controlling the basic sense of humanity today. When you go to a doctor, they don't recommend you to have a good diet or have a good exercise plan, or stay away from stress, or choose a lifestyle to be happy. They give you pills to keep you in control, because that would be freedom if they would suggest you to take care of your health naturally, to consume a good amount of, you know necessary minerals and proteins and vitamins and carb, fat, etc., and work out, and keep your mental health good. Then their pharmaceutical and doctor business would shut down. Recently a joke was surfacing on the internet. A woman goes to a doctor and tells her conditions. After the reports, the doctor tells her that you've been doing all of this because of your bad habits. It happened to you. Something very serious. And the woman asked, should I change my habits? And the doctor says, no, 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 no. Take this pill. And so this is happening in reality around us, and we stop questioning. We have stopped questioning. Oh, we never started in the first place. We, like, how can we not, you know, identify their interest in our own individual personal lives? Like, why are they so interested? Why do they want to us to marry? Why do they want us to make families? Why do they preach this idea through every possible platform, through televisions, through films, through every possible media that they can? The idea of family first is being sold into insurances. The idea of family first is being sold into investments. And they sell this idea of permanency to us, to have a fixed home so that our families can stay put together. And what is the need of having a family? Snatching away of freedom, so that we cannot raise our voice if something happens to us. And they cannot do something to people who are individuals. They only target people with family values, who have lower amount of resources, who have bigger family structures, poor people specifically, religious people specifically. They target them because they have been convinced into the idea of having family as a value, because it has been it's even religiously preached by religious leaders. They reproduce more despite their poor financial state, because they have been able to convince us into doing so. And so people with bigger family structures and bigger social values are more prone to extortion. We need to question. We just need to identify and question that why are they interested? What makes it beneficial for them that they want us in family structures? Nobody thinks about other people, especially people sitting in power. They just want to, you know, make more ways of keeping us in control, keeping our voice shut. That is all what happened in the Epstein files. The victims didn't raise voice because they were concerned about their family's safety. And I hope you are able to get that. The more you are concerned about your family's safety, the more you are vulnerable for such things. Not exactly what happened in the Epstein files, but to more problems. Any random man, anyone can extort you. Anyone can abuse their power on you because you are afraid about your family's safety. We got to question this system. We got to question whatever is not natural. If anything which is not natural, is not from the nature, is not our true identity, and even despite that, if they are trying to convince us into doing such things, we need to open our eyes, we need to open our ears and our brains to question them, or else we are always prone to, you know, be hunted by them. They are running the world, and the control is not in our hands. It is in our hands right now, but it is in our hands too that we hand our control in their hands. And how do we hand over our control in their hands? by doing what they want us to do. Exactly. By getting married, by making bigger family structures, and so on. Let's identify what they are trying to sell us apart from nature. Identify that, question it, and make individual choices in leaving all of it, so that we can live a free life, not a vulnerable life. Next question. I'll see you in another video. Bye.